just really jumping into the digital side of what's going to be driving that growth in 2021. And I like this line for those retailers who may be looking for opportunities scattered amongst the clouds. So they go through a bunch of different points here. Dan, what'd you think about this one?
Well, I pulled out of this article, the online retail growth tips for 2021. So, their tips. Number one, be online. Obviously, you've got to be online. According to Google, 63% of shoppers, the shopping journey begins online. We've talked about this consumer that, they have this buying phase or system the same way that we have a selling system in our stores. And they start with dreaming, dreaming, exploring, selecting, and enjoying. And that dreaming starts online. You have to be online. Tools like Shopify are providing relatively easy path for the retailer to get online, and you've got to be there. You have to optimize your experience. Number two is optimize the experience. According to Statista, search and navigation is the most important site element for an online shopper. Having product ratings and reviews is the second most important. Their third tip was you have to be fast. Consumers want a fast, frictionless shopping experience. We have to try to give that to them. Number four, don't scare them off. The Baymard Institute says that having extra costs is the number one reason for shopping cart abandonment. Likewise, forcing a shopper to create an account is the number two reason. So do whatever you can do not to scare them off once they get to your site. Number five.
Would that be most of the extra costs? That's where the shipping costs.
Oh, for sure it is.
Reveal itself, and
yeah.
So you'd say just try and fuel that conversation earlier in the journey. How would you approach that?
Well, I can tell you from experience. People don't like paying for shipping. Yeah. People will only pay for shipping when it expedites something. So I can have it on Friday instead of next Thursday. Now I'm going to pay for it. So paying for expedited shipping, I think, is acceptable. But otherwise, shipping costs are a challenge for us, and retailers will balk at it, especially, if we're shopping local. I shouldn't have to pay for shipping. I should be able to do a curbside pickup, or I should be able to get free shipping in my local community. And you have to establish what that line is, what that number is in your store. If it's $100, to eliminate the $10 shipping fee or the $12 shipping fee, so be it. That's what we need to do. Don't scare people off with adding costs at the point of checkout. Be clear and concise about what your shipping charges are, or, what your free sort of shipping plateau is.
Yeah.
For sure. One of the other tips they had was be persistent. For most websites, only 2% of web traffic converts on the first visit. So retargeting website visitors makes them 43% more likely to buy. Retargeting needs to become part of your arsenal in charging forward with your online strategy, for sure. The other three things that I really like. Be efficient. You can't afford to advertise to everyone. Online digital advertising practices such as retargeting and geofencing that we talked about, I think, on the last podcast, enable small business to be more effective with scarce ad dollars. We don't have a plethora of cash to throw around at this, and so we do need to be efficient and not advertise to every single person. Know who your customer is and go and speak directly to them.
Yeah, totally.
And then lastly, build a community with your social media. Share, your videos, your outdoor experiences, whatever consumers have interest in. Engagement builds loyalty. Talk to your customers and find out what engages them. You want to grow your business, get into this article, pull out 4 or 5 things and use it as a checklist. I'm doing it or I'm not doing it.
And making a plan for it, yeah.
Make a plan.
And not with a fire hose either. Like, it all doesn't have to happen next week.
Right.
And be real to yourself. And I love there were a couple parts in when you did your 20 for 21 list this year. Really that focused on that I'll call it your time, like that just spending time to think about where you're going, what you're working on, and Yeah, that was awesome.
And then taking a targeted approach to it, not like you say, a fire hose. Let's just be really, really targeted. Let's decide on doing this one thing this week or this month.
Well, and on that, all on the digital side too, realizing that, the tools are there to get more targeted, to try and, really use those dollars efficiently. But then don't lose sight of once that's still on the top end of the funnel, once you get them closer to the boat,
Right.
okay, you've got them now, and don't forget about that. Like, put them in your bucket and then be prepared to do things with them after, because I'll be the first to tell you that getting them in the first place is the most expensive part of the adventure, and you're going to sell them more than one thing, and look at that investment too, as this is not just a one-time purchase. It's are they going to buy 5, 10, 20 times from you in the next year, the next 2 years, and all of a sudden that initial investment starts making a lot more sense of what you're going to do with it.
And the lifetime value of a customer is something that is so underrated. We don't know how to count it. And if we went back, and looked at some of our best customers, how many times they purchased from us throughout the year, it's much easier. It's much more cost effective to get them to buy again than it is to get them to buy the very first time. It takes a lot of effort to get them to trust you that very first time. The second, third, fourth, 20th time, much, much easier.
Yeah.